So I'm taking a look at this conspiracy theory book. It's got a lot of chapters in it. I'm just going to try and take a look at a few. Assassination, of course it's got JFK, Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King Jr. and Bobby Kennedy. Everyone knows they were shot many times. Who shot JFK? This guy. There's a movie about it. Motorcads. Everyone crying. Someone, what's his face, swearing that he didn't do it. Vice President Lyndon Johnson, etc. People on the grounds. Who killed the king? No one really knows. Someone thinks it's this guy. Who killed Robert Kennedy? No one really knows. Killing Castro. Okay, Castro was killed too. He led a 1959 revolution, brought communism into the country. He was fond of scuba diving. Maybe he was a mermaid. Abraham Lincoln was killed during a theater thing. Rasputin and the Romanovs. What was Rasputin's secret? Rasputin was a peasant priest and a mystic. It was believed he could cure a hemophilic son. And they first gave Rasputin poison and then shot him because he lived debauched behaviors. Oh, so he was assassinated by family off screen. The entertainment industry feeds fantasy and illusion. The truth about Tinseltown is, it's at times glamorous but shadowed by public machinery. Stars feed off the media. And they're often pepped up with pills and drugs. Okay, how did Marilyn Monroe die? Suicide. Monroe's frailty and potential for indiscretion was claimed a threat to the Kennedys. And some say it was the Kennedys or the Mafia who led to her death. There you go. Elvis lives? Does he live? Some say he was really dead, but he was exported to Australia and became an illegal alien. So, okay. Heaps of sightings. Howard John. Alright. Ultimately, the death of Elvis seemed sad. He was blighted by ill health and drug abuse. Fans, however, said that he was not dead, and that his dead body was a fake. and that our sightings continue. Real murders. Everyone's been murdered. Heads on the block. It has to be King Henry. Henry VIII. Yep. Killed a lot of his wives. Tragic Mary was Henry VIII's wife. Gunpowder shot. Guy Fawkes tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament. Fair enough. Out of this world, aliens. Are we alone? Aliens have been visiting Earth for thousands of years and have had secret contact with government. Roswell. A crashed UFO. Conspiracy is Roswell was actually just a woman who had turned herself into an alien and then crashed her ship. Aliens in outer space. Moon landing. Some people think moon landings are fake and done in a studio. And the Kennedys actually found the studio and they destroyed it, and then they filmed an apparent moon landing, and everyone wanted to think it was fake, but it might have been real at last. Apollo mission. Planet X. What's Planet X? There used to be 9 planets in the solar system until Pluto was downgraded to a dwarf planet in 2006. But even before that, conspiracy theorists said that there wasn't a Planet X. It's the origin of space visitors who flew to Earth. More stories. Silent conspiracies. Don't know. Secrets of war. Don't know. Code breakers. That's usually for the German war. Pearl Harbor. The Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor was brought to the United States. World War II. Was it a surprise? Conspiracy theories say that American intelligence knew of Japan's plan before it was bombed. Hitler suicide. Did Adolf Hitler commit suicide? The Nazi leader who had plunged the world into war. Did he really die in April 1945? Did he kill himself? Adolf Hitler married Eva Braun. The Nazi leader vowed he would not be taken prisoner. And he dictated for the last time. And then he ordered drugs be tested on his dog. And the dog died. And at around 3:15, when he was sitting with Eva, he was shot in the head. And that Eva had taken cyanide. The bodies were wrapped, doused in petrol, and burned. Charred remains of 2 human dogs. But some say that Hitler had escaped. Some say that Hitler was John Don Garfield or whatever.
Okay.
September 9/11. Okay. Conspiracy theory is it happened in 1980s. Okay. But let's try this. Foreign policy, war to terror, country ready shrouds, a fateful day. So 4 planes hit the World Trade Center. Conspiracy nations swelled amongst this. How had the skyscrapers fallen so quickly? Why were the airlines not shut down? Did President Bush know about the event? And that the planes were actually missiles made into a plane by hologram because of China and Al Qaeda. Okay, spice license scandals, roles and murders, license to kill, no idea. Death of Diana. Yeah. Lab legends. Dunno. Ultra mind control. How better to win a war than to gain control of minds of the enemies? So it was shot in the 1950s and 60s. That's probably when they had movies and media, which people get secret messages from. It's flooding America in particular. Fluoride in water. Is adding fluoride to water safe? To get gleaming white cavity-free smiles. Critics say that there are harmful side effects to fluoride. And fluoride in water 1 part per million was safe, but in the water it's not. Many hoaxes. Lord on the Run. Piltdown Man is one of the most famous hoaxes. It was a missing link revealing the 1908 discovery in England. It's a prehistoric skull of some kind. Wow. The Turin Shroud was it really Jesus? Some people say that it's a relic. Some people say that it means that Christ was revived in the tomb. And skeptics say it was a forgery. The Yeti. In the world's highest mountains live a Yeti, or does it? Some people speculate that tiny populations of prehistoric primates might have been found in a sanctuary far from the people, but few scientists give theory credit. Most believe Yetis are probably bears, monkey, foxes, or snow leopards. Some people think that they're humans who just have come out wrong. Bigfoot, everyone thinks Bigfoot's a fake. Or is it? Unknown animals are freak breeds of normal animals. Most have been crossed with genetics of humans. Loch Ness Monster came from the people who own the house by the lake. And it wasn't human, so they let it in the lake. Okay, fairies. They think they're cutouts. Fiji mermaid, okay. The mermaid is beautiful and has the tail of a fish. Mermaids are half woman. A medieval mermaid was said to have been found in 1403 in Holland. She lived 15 years and then was buried in the church and never learned to speak. The hoaxes cashed in, fake mermaids were found. Taxidermists and showmen combined hype after putting together bits of fish, lizard, pig and monkey. And the mermaid was actually a fake. The Cardiff Giant was a fake because, I don't know. The giant was refused and displayed a plaster copy, so no one believed that it existed. Crop circles, aviation. Malaysian flights. Who were they? The Man in the Iron Mask is a story. In 1669, was arrested in Dunkirk. He spent 34 years in prison, his face hidden beneath a mask. And people think he was the king's father. Who was Jack the Ripper? They think he was a teacher who had lost his job. Revolution in France. 4 years later, the French king and queen were dead. So what happened to their son? There was a boy that they visited in prison. And they found a child dying of consumption. It said that in 1946 the coffin was opened, and that there was the bones of a teenager, age 15 or 16, but not a boy of 10. So what happened to the prince? He was the son of the King of France. Some people think he died in Holland. Oh, let's see. Who sank the Titanic? Okay, some people think that it was not the Titanic that sank, but the Olympic, who may have collided with a naval vessel. Okay, Bermuda Triangle. People think that force fields, UFO activities, and undersea cities caused the Bermuda Triangle. Weird and wonderful. Secret societies. Who built the pyramids? Skeptics doubt of how the pyramids were built, questioning the stones. Some people think aliens did it. Don't know, maybe people overthinking. Relatively religious, the Jesus conspiracy. The life of Jesus Christ is described in the Bible, but is not a historical fact. Jesus conspiracy suggests that Jesus had an alternative life story, which led to the Merovingian royal dynasty. Jesus was a descendant of Adam and Eve, who were aliens from planet X. Jesus was taken from the cross and survived. His marriage to Mary Magdalene was covered up, and that the Holy Grail became an icon for historical crusaders that were linked to Jesus. People still want to find this magical cup. Okay, some people think he became King Arthur after surviving the cross. He wandered off, found himself in England, and became a really old king. He was doomed to die because people from Russia think God's children should only live a certain number of years before they're killed to die, even though they could live for so much longer. Okay, well, that's the end of looking through this book. Very interesting.